Good morning, my name is Chris Jones. I am one of the founder partners of Merlin Archery. Been shooting now for too many years, 50 years. What this video is going to be about is we're going to introduce the Timber Creek point. Now, people have asked, why should we produce another point when there are so many points on the market? We probably stock every make that you can get, every shape from the manufacturers. We've probably got 50 different styles in. So what was the reason behind making a Timber Creek point? Technology has gone forward quite a lot. You see a lot of advancements in Olympic archery, but the only advancements I'm seeing at the moment on traditional archery are the bows, and they seem to have ignored some of the components. So when you consider that if you buy a set of wooden arrows, usually one of the important things about shooting accuracy is weight. Well, a set of wooden arrows, 12 wooden arrows, whatever species, could have within the 12 arrow selection a difference between 70 grains between the lightest and the heaviest. So what we did with our manufacturing process, and we have had these made out, that the old points were always made the same way and always have been on machinery that has been the same for years. Now, with the introduction of computer numerical machines, points now can be made very accurately within the grain weights. Now, the difference is our Timber Creek points over a 12-point range are matched within 1 grain. Together with that, each point is actually engraved with not only the size but the weight as well. So when you get them out, instead of mixing points up, you can actually physically see that if you're putting 100 grain points on, you get 100 grain points. They're all nicely packaged in match sets, and the tolerances are a little higher. Now, it's marginal. When you're making a component this small, it's hard to say that there is 2 or 3 grains difference, but over a set, if you're making an arrow, there's no control you've got over your point weights of what you buy. Now then, on the Timber Creek points, what we supply are brass and steel. The steel are all coated. We do them from 80 grains through to 125. That's 80, 100 and 125. We have been asked why we don't do a 70 grain point. Well, the 70 grain points, to be fair, the amount that we have to produce, we sell very little. And the people that normally use 70 grain points use it so they can get, it's nothing to do with spying of the arrow, it's the weight for shooting out at lighter bows. Now, there is other ways between 10 grains, between a 70 and an 80 grain point, there is other ways where you can get an arrow to fly just as good with an 80 grain as you can with a 70. And plus the fact that the weight of a wooden arrow, with the feathers and everything, you need some steerage way. So 70 grains to me is a compromise for distance, but there's a loss in accuracy. We do 2 types of points, a taper fit and a screw-in. Now, why do we do 2 different types of points? Well, people think that screw-in points are certainly more expensive and they still come off. One of the reasons is the thread that's cut inside of the points. Now, we've got a Timber Creek one here and a general purpose point. We've done some tests and the screw threading in a Timber Creek point is a lot deeper, so it holds a lot better. Now, there is a train of thought whereby if you use a screw-in point, you don't require glue. Well, you can if they're put on properly. With our Timber Creek ones, they do hold better. But what the idea of a screwing point is that when you put the glue on the arrow and you screw it in, the glue will go into the grooves a little bit better and always form a stronger bond. As I say, we will be doing a video on building a wooden arrow, because most people that use an ordinary taper fit always find problems of it popping out with the vacuum. Now, a little tip on if you're going to do that, as I say, we won't get into the arrow building scenario, but say we pick a cedar arrow here and we sharpen it with the taper hole. On the cedar, it produces a nice even cut due to the fact that cedar is a lot straighter grained. The one that causes more problems is the spruce one, because the spruce grows faster and the grain structure is a lot lighter. So that's why the arrow on the shaft of a spruce arrow is a lot lighter than any others, because it's the tree grows quicker, the growth rings are wider apart, and it's the growth ring at that point is the hardness of the shaft. So there's a lot of soft section in a spruce arrow. So if you actually taper a spruce arrow, unless your sharpener is really sharp, you'll get certain pullouts. Now, the good thing about a screw-on point, that it can accommodate these little chip outs, because it will actually groove into, have we got one here? It will actually groove into the not so uniform cut when it goes on. So that will hold better on a spruce shaft with a screw-in point than it will on a taper point. Again, not wanting to get into arrow building, primarily I'm introducing the points and the reasons why we did them. Through the accuracy and manufacturing techniques, produces the most accurate point on the market at the moment, we believe, for traditional archers. And I do believe the growth of traditional archers should benefit from some of the new technologies. Another little tip that will go with anybody that's building the wooden arrows is that when you buy ready-made arrows, they're always full length in whatever spine they have, so the points are always fitted. Now, if you're building your own wooden arrows, most people actually knock and clear fletch and put the point on last. A good tip when you're building your own wooden arrows is to do the point first, because with the difference of the wood and sometimes the non-symmetrical of the shaft, the point can go in a little bit cross-threaded, and it's most important that when you're shooting that point is not on a turn. It's got to be on straight. Now, if you actually knock and fletch your arrow, when you cut it to length, you've got nothing to play with. But when you put the point on first, you can actually make sure that all your points are on nice and square, nice and straight, and then cut the arrow to length, because it's always nice if you get the point wrong that you can actually start again. If you cut your arrow to length and then put the point on, you're stuck. You can't change the length of the arrow, and you've wasted a lot of hard work. So a little tip when you're building your own arrows, unlike buying them ready fletched where you can cut them, if you buy your own fletched arrows, always put the point on first and make sure that you get a nice seat on the actual thread. So it's a short little video. I just wanted to introduce the reason why we've produced these is because I think as traditional archers should benefit from some of the new machining technologies that are out there. So I hope this little video was helpful, and look on our website and see what you can find. Thank you very much.